These are the best position 3 offlane heroes to play so far in patch 7.39. Hi, I'm Torte, and with the release of patch 7.39, a continuing trend for position 3 offlaners is selecting heroes who can create map control by taking early ganks and fights while also securing fast farm. With heroes like Beastmaster, Bristleback and Night Stalker losing in popularity, some familiar faces retain their win rate, and a couple of new tanky heroes are making their entry back into the meta. Let's break it down. And by the way, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. I'm also on Twitch to answer your questions live. In 7.39, the developers nerfed Wraith King in two meaningful but insufficient ways. One, Radiance lost 5% of its evasion, but don't worry, it still causes enemies to miss their attacks. And two, Reincarnation can no longer trigger if Wraith King is in his Wraith Death form. Number 2 is especially important because what you used to do was literally hit level 6 and dive the enemy tower while keeping Reincarnation unskilled until you die, become a Wraith with your bonus attack speed to deal additional damage to your target before skilling Reincarnation and diving the target even more. Same thing with Refresher Orb. You die, reincarnate, die again, and when you are in the Wraith form, you'd pop Refresher Orb to be able to reincarnate. It created a pretty bullshit loop for the enemy while giving Wraith King players a guaranteed time of when they know they can reincarnate while taking advantage of the Wraith form, bonus attack, and movement speed. But despite these nerfs, Wraith King is still king of the offlane, and it stems from his 7.38c buffs to his Bone Guard facet, where the cooldown was reduced to 42 seconds and the Wraith King skeletons from Bone Guard last 46 seconds longer than the cooldown. This gives Bone Guard a literal uptime of 100%, which means your skeletons are constantly available to be casted, so while Wraith King could be farming or fighting, his skeletons are moving around the map, slaying jungle camps, and creating new stacks of Bone Guard. This massive buff in 7.38c means that Wraith King's ability to both simultaneously farm and fight makes him extremely popular as an offlaner rather than a late game carry that just focuses on farming. 7.38c also came with another nugget of opportunity for Wraith King. Wraith Fire Blast lowered its cooldown, but also Wraith King's level 10 talent increases the slow duration of the spell, which also increases how long enemies will burn from the Wraith Fire Blast. So, in essence, Wraith Fire Blast has massive scaling potential leading up to and at level 10, where the hero is dealing 400 plus damage on an 8-second cooldown. These two changes has shifted Wraith King from being a passive late game farming carry to a mid-game tempo hero that can grab a Radiance at 16 minutes and start slinging big damage with Wraith Fire Blast, or you can opt for the crit passive effect as well, all the while forcing enemies to take on this hero with 2 lives. Legion Commander in 7.39 received a buff to her Outfight Them innate ability, where her health will restore for more when attacking an enemy at equal level or above hers. That said, the developers did make it scaling with each level in Duel, so early on, her Press the Attack and Moment of Courage will not restore as much. Regardless, the hero is popular in the offlane because of how well she can map pressure in the mid game. Having a hero that is all about mid game duels to scale up her damage to then farm larger items like Ag Scepter and Black King Bar means she can close the map out and tear down most towers by 20 plus minutes. She works incredibly well with other popular ganking heroes like Nature's Prophet, now as a support, Templar Assassin, and Queen of Pain. But also, Legion is a great response to a lot of popular jumpy mid laners like Ember Spirit, Storm Spirit, and Puck, and that extends to heroes like Morphling, Slark, and Juggernaut when she picks up the Ag Scepter to extend the duration of her duel and thus give opportunity for her allies to bully them down. Just pair her with soft supports like Lion, Skywrath Mage, Zeus, or even Bounty Hunter to nuke enemies to secure your duel wins early in the match. And don't forget that Chipped Vest is back in the game as a tier 1 neutral item, so Legion Commander has a lot of damage output once she starts dueling. What's more is that Legion Commander still has one of the most comfortable laning stages. Her strong initial base damage combined with the Stonehole Plate facet means she can be hard to shut down, and against most common melee safe lane enemy carries, her overwhelming odds ability is both a good way to secure her range creep while also damaging her opponent. And towards the late game, she can opt to pick up Black King Bar so she can freely attack after winning her duel, as well as Shadowblade and Ag Shard later on. In 7.39, Dawnbreaker received a buff to her innate ability. Whenever the sun comes up, so every 5 minutes starting at 0-0, Dawnbreaker gains 25% bonus damage and 20% bonus vision, and that decreases over time until it becomes night. This is a massive effect for a hero that joins a lot of fights in the mid game, and especially buffs up her Starbreaker, which is based on your attack and deals bonus damage on top of that. This is another hero that responds great against Terrorblade, Templar Assassin to burn her refraction with Dawnbreaker's ultimate ability, and she's also especially powerful when responding against Phantom Assassin because her Starbreaker deals true strike damage, so it cannot be evaded. Just like in 7.38, Dawnbreaker is still good in 7.39 because she is still picked for her ganking and anti-ganking value through her ultimate ability Solar Guardian. With heroes like Shadow Shaman and Bounty Hunter both popular meta supports this patch, Dawnbreaker secures map control early on to give her pos 1 plenty of uninterrupted farm to carry by the 30-minute mark. She currently has 2 builds going on. One, the first build you are probably familiar with, revolving around dealing damage with her Starbreaker as she typically builds Blade Mail, Echo Saber into Harpoon, and then can opt for Sanj and Yasha for the status resistance and heal amp when Luminosity occurs, as well as the Ag Shard for that uninterrupted Starbreaker. Alternatively, number 2, you can build Blade Mail into Ag Scepter to enhance her Solar Guardian, changed in 7.38, to give her amplified healing and a massive burning AoE damage effect to enemies nearby. Of course, both of these builds are dependent on the enemy lineup and which your team needs more of. This flexibility is further reason why Dawnbreaker responds well with most lineups. Darkseer is a staple of this patch because he has a relatively comfortable lane with Vanguard and can fight with max levels in Iron Shell and eventually building that Vanguard into Heaven's Halberd. He's a good response to a lot of heroes who want to push out of the lane like Slark, but also his vacuum into Wall of Replica can punish enemies who rely on positioning during teamfights like Terrorblade and Drow Ranger. Pairing Darkseer up with heroes who have great follow-through in teamfights is a game-winning strategy, so heroes like Earthshaker and Echo Slam are good, or you can work with heroes who take advantage of your Iron Shell to secure easy kills when ganking, so try heroes like Clockwork, Pudge, Spearbreaker, etc. As of right now, there are really 2 kinds of builds for Darkseer, and that flexibility gives him a lot of opportunity in the mid-game. He can either opt for the Greaves, Pipe, or Crimson Guard for teamfight security, or lean more towards Ag Scepter and Blink Dagger for more ganking with normal punch, even when his vacuum and Wall of Replica are on cooldown. Because Darkseer can farm so efficiently while keeping lanes pushed on the enemy team with his Iron Shell, he is the quintessential off-lane hero that fits in almost any lineup. It just comes down to understanding what your team needs versus what they're up against, and if you need to create space and pressure on the map, or prepare more importantly for teamfight to take down some tier 1 and tier 2 towers. Axe is back, and that boost to his call-out facet in 7.39 has really opened people's eyes to the hero where you can still go for the one-man army facet to snowball the hero with a lot of strength and armor, or you can opt for the buffed 7.39 call-out facet, which gives the hero a lot more farming value and thus early timing on your core items like Blade Mail, Blink Dagger, Black King Bar, etc. With Chip the Vest back as a neutral item, Axe is farming especially quickly or even getting some early game items. Battle Hunger was also buffed in its early levels, giving your pause for opportunity to follow through whenever the enemy support is out of position, and with the rise of Anti-Mage, Slark, or even Morphling still being popular, Axe provides a reliable lockdown for these maneuverable heroes. Just watch out for heroes like, Juggernaut, who will obviously Omni-Slash you to death way beyond what your armor can handle, even with Berserker's Call. Alright, so these are the heroes that are really popping off right now, but as you know, things will change, and I'll try to get you an updated video ASAP. I didn't get to mention this, but I'm also thinking Earthshaker seems really viable with his innate ability Slugger, which you probably know from it being a facet before. This really shoots up Earthshaker's comfort to farm while also freeing up a whole facet for you to opt for, usually the new one, Resonating Ridge. Anyway, stay tuned for Pause 5 videos coming up next, and don't forget to subscribe if you want more of these videos coming your way.